Lockdowns. A word that I never thought I'd have to seriously hear in my lifetime. A lockdown is when you are forced by the government to stay inside your house or are given restrictions on when you can go out. You can only go outside at these times. There's curfews. You can only go out with certain people. You can only mix with certain people. You can only go visit certain places at certain times, blah, 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 blah. And this is, of course, a response to Corona, which has been around pretty much all year. But the thing is, I've noticed a significant divide in opinions of lockdowns, because I remember when Corona first got really bad, which I think was around in March, where Western governments started doing lockdowns. So over in the UK, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson did a big national lockdown and there was a bunch of rules that were attached to that. And at the start, people were quite supportive. And in fact, people were going, we're all in this together, all of this bullshit sloganeering that politicians always do, where they try and seem more human than they actually are. They do the we're all in this together, we'll make it we'll get to the light at the end of the tunnel, all that bullshit. And a lot of people bought into it. A lot of people were very supportive of it. And I remember a lot of people, the biggest, most cringeworthy moment, I think, in British history has to have been where we had every Thursday, I think it was, people going outside their homes at a certain time. I think was 8 o'clock. People going outside of their homes at 8 o'clock, clapping for the National Health Service, like retarded seals going. And this is the thing. It's one thing to appreciate the NHS and doctors and nurses or whatever, right? But I don't like these pointless symbolic rituals that everyone does just because everyone else is doing and they want to feel like a good person, right? It's like we had entire streets of people stood outside the house clapping like fanatics, going, yeah, NHS.
It was fireworks.
It was fireworks. What is it doing? What was that all about? What was that doing? Look, for anyone listening to this, pause this, open up a new tab and look up UK claps for NHS. All right, look that up and you'll see videos. It's the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life. But the thing is, as pointless as it was, at the start, people were doing it. And then they did it the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And as every week went by, that the lockdowns were happening, more and more people started to get pissed off because they started to go, well, hang on a minute. Why? Number one, why are we doing this? Number two, is this worth the damage that it's causing? Because at the start, you had stimulus packages where the government would pay people, who are out of work, a certain percentage of the wage to keep their mortgage, to keep their house, to keep their car, blah, 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 blah. So people didn't really care, right? It was kind of like a state-sanctioned holiday. So no wonder people were in support of it at the start. But then the stimulus packages started to end. And then you had people who are having to completely readjust their schedules, students who would have to go on applications like Zoom and completely change the way that their life functioned completely. And then at the start, people were very scared of Corona, right? I mean, it was this new thing. All we heard was that it killed people or whatever. Then as the months rolled by, the death statistics have rolled in, and it's got like a 99.99 survival rate. The vast majority of people who die from it are over 70. And even people who are over 70 who get it, the majority survive. And people are starting to question now, well, wait a minute. Why are we completely changing our lives, all of us? Why are small businesses, medium-sized businesses especially, going bankrupt? Why are we letting all of this carnage, this economic carnage, this cultural carnage, this mass increase of mental health going down the drain? Why are we doing this for a virus that has a 99.99% survival rate? And then when people started to talk about this, social media companies started to censor them. YouTube would censor them, Facebook censored them, Twitter censored them, Reddit, the hive mind of dumb fuckery, started to censor them. And it's gotten out of hand. And now it's got to the point where the opinion has shifted. Back in March, people were pro-lockdown. People were clapping like retarded seals outside of the houses in the UK, as I said. But now, people just want to get back to work. People are getting fired left, right and centre. They're worried. They want things to go back to normal. And yet all you hear from the mainstream media is this weird term, new normal. You have to get used to wearing a mask. You have to get used to doing this. You have to get used to not... Right now, there's a big deal in the UK whereby the government obviously can't shut down London anymore. London, it by far produces the most amount of wealth in the UK. But at the same time, they kind of want to look competent and look like they're actually doing something. And so what they've done is they've come up with this free tier system whereby they're going to lock down the more poorer parts of the country but leave London open. And so essentially what's going to happen from this, of course, is that poor parts of the country, like the north of England, are going to get butt-fucked economically, even more so than they are already, while London thrives. And it's a big thing over here where people are really angry about it. People are starting to go, you know what? Fuck your lockdowns. I'm not interested. And I personally don't blame them. But it seems like there's a divided opinion on this. And so, what do you think about it, first and foremost?
I think it's really stupid and I don't want lockdowns.
Yeah, but this is funny because I said I never go outside. I never go outside. What am I going to do? Go outside in a crime-filled neighbourhood? Watch someone smoke a cigarette outside of a dirty chippy that failed its health inspection 5 years in a row? What am I going to do? I'd much rather be on the internet. I'd much rather be making stuff. And yet, it's funny how psychology works. Because of Corona, and because I'm being told I can't go outside, now I actually want to go outside. It's weird how that works, but go on.
Yeah, but I mean, me personally, I'm not going outside that much, and I'm not like, clubbing or whatever, so it doesn't affect me personally that much. But I don't like people's view when they only look like how it affects themselves. Because obviously lockdowns, you can't have it anymore. Because of the economy and other people, like, you just can't have it anymore.
Well, we wanted to find out what the so-called general public thought, but honestly, I don't know why we do this, because we've made a big mistake. Because if you want to find out where the general public, what they think, you have to go to places where there's a lot of left-wingers, a lot of right-wingers, a lot of people who don't give a shit about politics. Yeah, you have to go outside and ask people. Problem is, you can't really go outside and ask people because there's fucking lockdowns, right? So we made the mistake of going to Reddit. Reddit, for anyone who doesn't know, as I said earlier, it's got to be the hive mind of the biggest knuckle-dragging morons ever. The average person on Reddit is like a 23-year-old American who lives in California and sips lattes every day while twirling his beard, right? That is literally the average Redditor. It's not representative of the average Joe. But with that being said, it is a website where, and also anyone who is quite normal or isn't a complete Marxist gets censored to oblivion. But right now, it's pretty much the only place where you can actually gather an opinion, which is quite a problem. But besides the point, we asked the people. What did I ask the people? I asked them, you can read it.
How do you feel about lockdowns? Is the security provided by them worth the temporary loss of freedom?
All right, so, yeah, it's the argument of security versus freedom. I mean, if everyone's locked down, yeah, there's no one's going to get corona, right? Because we're all inside. But at the same time, is it worth the temporary loss of freedom of being told by the state, you can't go there, you can't meet these people, blah, 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 blah? Is it worth it? Well, let's see what the people have to say.
Before we ask the people, should we maybe ask our third member in this room what he thinks?
All right, Archie, our dog's here. Archie, hello? What do you think of lockdowns?
Oh, that's a good point.
I never thought of it that way. That's absolute genius. Really absolutely genius. You just stared at it. Right, go on.
Indifferent Peanut said, freedom, seriously.
Well, I really, you know what, man? I've never seen it like that before. I think I actually gave a more in-depth answer than that. No, well, I agree with you, but why?
Julian Wolf said, ridiculous. If the economy isn't kept going, more people will die than what you will save by locking down. People are the economy, and you have to work to produce goods and services for others. Without goods and services, people starve and die.
That is exactly what I thought. You know, I said that right at the start in March. You know, there was a recording that we made that we never released. I don't know why we never released it. Where I was saying, well, hang on a minute, if you look at the survival rate of this, it's like 99%. Is this worth all the economic carnage? And a lot of people at the time were so scared and frightened by mainstream media that they were like, shut up, it's people like you who are responsible for deaths. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm just telling you the facts here. I completely agree with you. That's what a lot of people don't realise. But the truth of the matter is, the people who work and the people who are actually doing something with their life, they understand this. Because they're the ones who have to deal with the fallout and the consequences of being made redundant and losing the jobs, etc., especially business people. So people who never do anything with their bloody lives and are just sat in all day scratching their ass, they're indifferent to it. They want to feel like a hero and feel like they're doing something. Like I'm fighting corona. Yeah, that's what they want to feel like. And the way they do that is by doing fuck all, right? So they get a nice feeling by doing nothing to make it feel like they're doing something with their lives once. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I gotta say, these responses are a lot better than I thought, considering this is Reddit, but I don't think that's going to last very long, is it?
No. English OAP said, yes, the alternative is to let people die. And I think that is ridiculous, because I think more people are going to die as a consequence of these stupid lockdowns, because so many families and people are going to get into poverty. They're going to starve because of it. They're going to not afford healthcare. People's mental health, people are going to kill themselves.
Yeah, that's such a smooth brain way of looking at it. Look, of course. Look, do you think people who oppose lockdowns want people to die? Do you think that people who oppose lockdowns are just in here rubbing their hands together going, oh, I can't wait to see the statistics today. I hope there's thousands. Are they fuck? You know,
person clearly doesn't understand that, because
no, but this is
surviving without money.
This is emotional manipulation. What mainstream media have done to people, they've made people go, if you don't stay inside, you do realise you're going to be responsible for granny dying. You're going to be responsible for people dying, and it's like, what are you talking? Listen. This is what I would do, right? If I was like president, prime minister, or whatever, and this happened when I was in charge, this is what I would do. I would say, right, listen, at the start, I would have done a lockdown. I would have said, right, listen, we don't know what this is. We're all a bit scared here. This is looking like a big deal. We're going to lock down just temporarily, just for like a little bit, like a week or something. Let's find out what's going on, okay? In the meantime, we'll give you stimulus. It's fine, right? But after a while, when I started, when I had my meeting and the head doctors say, yeah, it's got a survival rate of 99.99% and only people over 70 are really affected that much, I'm going to be going, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go to the people, I'm going to make a big speech and a presentation, and I'm going to go, listen up, this is the reality. There is this virus that's going around, you can catch it, right? Airborne, blah, blah, blah. You should probably wear a mask. Businesses, you can set out your distancing rules or whatever. It's completely up to you. But the lockdown's ended. You can go and work, do whatever you want. It's on your own now. That's what I would do. You educate people on the facts. This is the facts of what happens with this virus. And then you, as a person, I respect you enough to take your own life into your hands. Now, you can't go around, if you've got corona, right, you can't go around spreading it or whatever, right? You have to stay in if you've got it, right? But I'm not going to, I don't know, do this iron fist totalitarian bullshit just to look like I'm doing something. Like, there's a lot of people who say to countries that aren't doing lockdowns, the government's not doing anything. And it's like, well, is it that they're not doing anything or that they don't want to completely fuck their economies up? It's like a lot of people in government just do a lockdown because it's kind of like they want to look like they're doing something, if that makes sense. Like, look at me, I've done a lockdown, right? That's my work done. Not thinking of the long-term, not thinking of the long-term effects. They're just doing it for their own political careers. It's like I think people should be respected enough to be able to take their life in their own hands here. With reasonable precautions, you know what I'm saying? But not this. This is just ridiculous. But what else is there?
I am a annoyed main, said bored. I think that's a really interesting response.
What did he say?
Bored.
Oh, but you're bored. Yeah, I'm bored. Everyone's bored. Well, that's actually, despite being a one-word thing, it says a lot, actually, because there is a lot. Boredom is a big thing. And a lot of people, look, I never really go out, right? But a lot of people, if I was the type of person who was going to clubs or pubs, or I was used to going out or whatever, right? And I couldn't do that anymore. Yeah, gyms is a big one. And I couldn't do that anymore. I'd be pissed off. It's kind of like, I spend a lot of time playing games. If someone said to me, we're going to have a lockdown and you can't play games, I'd be fucking pissed off. I'd be like, I've got to go out now. You know what I mean? This is going to have a massive effect on people.
That's something I don't like with people when they respond to this and when they talk about it. They just look to themselves. I mean, it's like you say, it's not affecting me so much. But that doesn't justify the lockdown because it affects so many people.
Yeah.
different
Well, you got to look at it at the masses. I mean, the lockdown makes no effect to me at all. Really, it's no effect on my economics. It's made no effect on my social life. It's had no effect on me at all. You know, it doesn't matter to me. But I have the IQ to look at everyone who's being made redundant and all the working class people who I live around and see them losing their jobs and losing money and worrying about how they're going to losing the house and the car and everything and going, wait a minute, you know what? Maybe this it needs to end for their sake, not mine. But yeah, you're right. People just think about themselves.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And the funny thing is, that's what people who are pro-lockdown say. They say, you just think of yourself. You just want to go out partying or whatever. You know, you're not thinking of others. You're not thinking of granny. And it's like the irony of that.
Yeah, but I think that those are the people that are very selfish because they probably don't have to struggle with money. They probably don't have children that are home from school so they can't work or do whatever. They're probably not the one with a mortgage.
Well, you know what? Maybe we're getting angry at the wrong people. Because the people, no one, right, if they knew the damage that these lockdowns were doing economically, socially, etc., no one would be for them. The only people who are for them is people who are listening to mainstream media, people who have been brainwashed. But I don't think we should get angry at them. Because if I've learned one thing, just going around calling people morons, that just makes them embrace the opposite view even more. But I get angry at the people who keep telling them day by day, oh, Corona's killing everyone, it's fucking crazy, man, oh my God. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's the mainstream media and the social media cabal who we should get angry at, not the people who are falling for it. You know, you should be able to trust the news. You know, you should be able to, you know, we live in unprecedented times. You know, so I don't...
Especially America, they're just using this for like that because of the election. They're making it all about the election. And that's just so... It's horrible because every other country, every other Western country, they kind of look up to America in that way. And it's just horrible.
Yeah, so... Anyway, what else was there?
Okay, some Greek, 1738, said... Probably gonna be the black sheep in these comments, but I'd rather not have lockdowns because I'm sure I speak on behalf of some people that it's just draining my mental health and making it go worse. My city is in a tier 3 lockdown, which means pretty much all places are shut except retail and restaurants, and there's fuck all to do, and I've honest had suicidal thoughts all throughout this year because of it.
Listen, whoever wrote that comment, you shouldn't... This is the thing. At the start, he was very hesitant, right? He was like, "Oh, you know, I'm going to be the sheep here. You know, like I speak on behalf of some people." He was hesitant to even comment that because he knows that on the absolute latrine of social media, the sewage of social media, having that opinion, which is not even an opinion, it's a fact. It's not controversial. It makes complete sense because it's so censored and so controlled. He feels like he has to walk on eggshells just to say that. It's like, listen, this guy's suicidal. This guy's feeling like shit. He has nothing to do. He's one of the people I spoke about earlier who probably went out a lot. Not like me. This guy's losing it. And this is what people aren't thinking of. They're thinking of Corona. They're so obsessed with Corona. They're not thinking about, poverty, suicide, depression. They're not thinking about these things. And all of these things are so much more powerful than Corona in terms of fucking up people's lives. So it all depends on what sort of person you are. No, I'm not talking to this guy anymore, just in general, the people listening. If you're the sort of person who wants to feel like you're a smart person, and intelligent and a good person, because all you do is listen to the mainstream media all day, keep being pro-lockdown. But if you actually are a decent person and you give a shit about people's livelihoods and you want to do the right thing, maybe you should start looking into the opposing view. You know, this isn't
using common sense.
It is common sense.
Thinks that shutting down the entire economy is gonna do people good.
Of course it fucking won't.
That is smart can think like that.
No. I gotta say, your country, Sweden, I can't believe it. They're one of the only countries in Europe who has had no lockdown whatsoever. People going about their business.
5,000 deaths. That's
5,000 deaths out of 10 million. I mean, every death's a tragedy there, but let's be real, in terms of statistics, that's not bad. This is a country your country has had no lockdown. 5,000 people out of 10 million. Everyone's going about the business. Your folks must look at what's going on over here and think it's fucking crazy. I mean, it's...
word for me all the time. Will you be able to leave the house?
Meanwhile, we've had more deaths and we've had the lockdowns. How does that even work? And people will always go, "Oh yeah, but Sweden, it's got people, high intelligent population and a good healthcare system." Please. The reality of the situation is that people, a sensible population who is respected by their government to take their own life in their own hands will do it. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Sweden has actually done something right for once. And I tell you what, if I'm saying that, something's really fucking gone wrong. But yeah, anyway, what is it? Is that Elle?
No, there's a lot more. Mrs. Magaloo said, for us, yes, I've got 2 small kids, and while it's far from fucking ideal having them home, the potential for them or us to get ill and have long-term side effects isn't worth it on my view. The impact on the economy is obviously a massive worry and carries with its huge implications for health and well-being. It's a tough and weird situation.
So they're sort of stuck in between the middle then, right? So they want the lockdown for their own health, but they understand the economic effects that it has.
No, they said that she has 2 kids, and the potential for them to get ill with long-term side effects isn't worth the lockdown.
Oh, right, okay.
It's not worth it.
I was going to say, because if they were pro-lockdown but they understood the economic effects, then I'd be like, okay, thank God we got someone who can actually see it. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's not what locking down. Listen, if you're 90 years old, you should probably not be going out right now, But if you're like 20, I don't think you have to worry that much. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people who are young don't die from it. There has been people who are young who've died from it. Yeah, we all know that. But statistically speaking, it is fucking unlikely.
I think that the most people that are young that have died from it, if you look into it, there was this girl who was like 17 and died. She was morbidly obese.
Yeah, there's always something attached to them. And also, they mark down corona deaths if they died of something else. Yeah, if you had corona and you died of a heart attack, they mark you down as a corona death. No, you didn't die of corona. You died of a heart attack. It's bullshit. Like a part of me, like the conspiracy like mode in my brain goes, they're doing this to get people used to their freedoms being taken away. That's what, they're taking advantage of it. NWO is coming down upon us. That sort of thing. But then I think, wait a minute. Governments are so fucking stupid and inept that actually they're just doing this for political power, right? They want to look like they're smart and they want to look like they're doing something. And I always go between the two. Bottom line is, folks, they're not doing it for you. That's for damn sure.
Evo012 said, how do I feel about the lockdown? The only thing that has changed is that I put a mask on when I go out. I don't know if that's an okay thing or sad thing. Another one just looking to themselves.
Yeah, the mask thing. Oh, I'm torn on that. I really am. Because I don't like it how it's been normalised. And it will be normalised for many years to come that we should wear these things, being around other people. It's going to make people scared of other people. It's going to make people very, very... I mean, I'm the biggest germaphobe on the planet. And I'm worried about other people being like that. It's going to make people not want to go near each other. Hey, stay away from me. I've got to wear my mask. It's going to be a permanent thing, like in Japan. People always wear medical masks in Japan in public. I'm scared that's going to be a common thing here now, because it's been a year almost now since Corona, and people are still doing this bullshit. When is it going to end? When is Corona going to go away? I don't want people to get used to it, but on the other hand, I don't want people spreading it or getting it. So... but if you're anti-mask in any way, people hound you. They go like, oh, so you want people to die? Are you fucking dumb? Do you think, do you really think people want other people to die on purpose? No, they don't. You got to think long term as well.
I think it should be a choice. Like anyone you can wear a mask if you want to, if you feel vulnerable or you feel ill and you don't want to, get it to other people. But I don't think it should be mandatory. But I mean, if you're in a store and they want it to be mandatory, that's their choice. But if you're outside and you're staying away from people, you're not going around hugging or licking them, like, you don't need to wear a mask if you don't want to. It shouldn't have to be.
Yeah, businesses, businesses should be able to decide if they want to do that. But yeah, I mean, at an airport, for example, we were picking you up from the airport. You had to wear one then. It's pretty understandable if you ask me. But when I was going outside to pick you up, I didn't have to wear one. No one gave a shit. And they shouldn't give a shit because I never go out anyway. So I'm only putting myself at risk. And I'm fine.
A mask was only mandatory at like inside the airport, not outside the airport.
But that's what I'm saying. Because outside the airport, is I don't want to say it's like public ground, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's outside. But what would annoy me is if government started saying you have to wear a mask outside all the bloody time. That's totalitarian. But obviously, a business, yeah, sure.
Or when you're packed, like in a small space when many people are packed, like in an airport.
Yeah. Look, it's about bottom line is it's about a balance of balancing freedom and security. You can't just say to people, oh yeah, you can go out no mask, sneeze on people and it doesn't matter. You can't say that because then we're all going to die. We really will all going to die at that point. But at the same time, you can't be this scared nanny state where you may not leave your home, you may only go out after 10 o'clock and you can only go out at 6 p.m. It's like, fuck off, right? It's two extremes, and it's like we've cramped down on one extreme, right? The sort of do what you want sort of thing. We've clamped down on that. But the nanny state thing, people are pro for it, and it's like, no, there needs to be a balance here. Your view is extreme.
I think the worst part that I had to really understand is the curfew, because the virus doesn't go to sleep at 10 p.m. And I mean, less people are outside then, so wouldn't you be safer technically?
It reminds me, right? A lot of these rules in the UK don't even make sense. Like, they say, you can only... What was it that they said? I heard it and I thought, are you fucking dumb? Whoever made this... No. It was like... it was something like, you can't go to a pub, right? Pubs have got to close. But if the pub turns into a restaurant... then it can be open. What? Yeah, okay, so a pub now serves chips. That's the only difference. You can now buy chips, maybe some fish from the pub. Now it may be open. What the fuck is the point of that? And also they say a rule of 6. You may only have 6 people in a place at once or something like that, right? Because we don't want you mixing with other people because you might spread the virus. Meanwhile, yeah, why not 7? Why not 5? But meanwhile, one of those people, right, can go out to another house which has 5 people in, right, and then come back to their original house. It doesn't make any fucking sense, is what I'm trying to say.
The rules change every single day.
Yeah. One minute there was a national lockdown, then there's no lockdown, then there's a free tier lockdown, then they're talking about this fucking circuit breaker lockdown, whatever that means. It sounds like a cancelled season of X-Men, right? I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. But I remember I heard some rule, and it was so easily exploitable. I mean, I come from games, and games are all about exploiting the rules to meet your own goals, right? Clever use of game mechanics. I saw those lockdown rules and I found a way to manipulate that in about 0.2 seconds, right? They don't make sense. It's just politicians, incompetent, fucking moron politicians who are looking after themselves. And you want to know something that really pissed me off? Yeah. Get this. This is fucking awful. Everyone in the north of England's gone redundant. All the working classes are getting fucked, right? Everyone's losing their jobs, right? Guess fucking who got a £3,000, which is about $4,000 pay rise? Members of Parliament. Oh, yeah, I know. Imagine the country's going bankrupt. We need stimulus more than ever. If you're gonna do lockdowns, make stimulus. And these fucking rancid bastards give themselves $4,000 a year. Fuck.
Giving that to all the working class families that can't work.
Oh no, we can't do that. We need the money. We're MPs. We do our job is so difficult. We have to make up rules that will fuck you.
A few months where they don't get paid at all. Like they should do that out of the goodness of their hearts or something. Because they really care about their people.
MPs have got it great. They have 2 houses. They have a house in the constituency. They've got an apartment in London that they don't pay for. The public pays for. They get free transport. They get free fucking everything. These guys get paid what? Isn't it like 70 grand a year? And they're giving themselves a pay rise in the middle of a pandemic. You fucking spineless bastards. You spineless wastes of oxygen. You fucking sicken me. Anyway, is there any more?
Yeah, there's some more. It's Squids said, "It's not as bad as people drag it out to be here in the States. If people listen to the state governments instead of following the president, we would probably be in a better situation."
Here we go again. Trump's Orange Man. Don't listen to Orange Man. Listen to your state. Listen, this is not... Corona's not Trump's fault.
It is Trump's fault.
Is it Trump's fault?
Not joking.
Is it fuck Trump's fault? Is it fuck? Listen, you can say Trump has been a bit... How would you put it? Laissez-faire. Maybe his way of dealing with it you might not agree with, right? But listen, you say listen to your state governments. I know a little bit about state governments in the United States. California, you heard about it. We were listening to it earlier. California, who is probably the most liberal, like, Democrat state ever. These guys have been locked down so hard, people are leaving in droves. The population is decreasing. Think about this, right? A state which basically has an open border with Mexico is losing population. How is that even possible? You know, they've got homeless people all over the place. You can't lock down homeless people. What are you going to do? They're the only ones who are outside. Needles everywhere. Everyone's leaving California because it's a fucking shithole. And people are moving to more business-friendly states like Texas, for example, who aren't doing this bullshit. It's like, you can't just say, listen to your government. Listen to your government. If your government... If you're working and your government doesn't help you with stimulus, or they don't help you in any way, you can't just lie there in a pit while you and your family starve because the government told you to.
No, you have to take matters into your own hands.
And also, all these fucking politicians, they don't follow their own fucking rules. Like that twat Dominic Cummings over here who pissed around as soon as a national lockdown was announced, he's pissing around there. And by the way, I don't really give a shit if he did that. But the bottom line is, it can't be one rule for you and one rule for me. You've all got to be under the same rules. Yeah, that bitch in America, that Nancy twat, who the haircut.
Oh, that's a necessity though.
Oh, it's a necessity. Oh, get the fuck out of it. These people are spineless. I mean, listen, if you're a leader, right, it's bad enough. You've got a lot of responsibility, but you've at least got to follow your own fucking rules, right? You've at least got to follow your own rules. It's like when I was at school, when teachers would always say, you can't have your mobile out in class, right? Meanwhile, when we're all doing our work, they've got their iPhone 4 out, browsing the fucking Safari, going, because they don't have to do anything while we're all doing the work. And I'm like, hang on a minute. If I did what you're doing, you'd throw me out. One rule for thee, one rule for me. It's ridiculous. Follow your own fucking rules. That's the mark of a true leader. They make rules, they're decisive, but they goddamn follow them. All right, what else is there?
Sir Mercutio said, depends on the lockdown and the reason for it, and you don't lose freedom.
What do you mean you don't lose freedom? By definition of a lockdown, you lose freedom. That's why it's called a lockdown. Does a lockdown sound like a good thing to you? No one has ever said, yes, there's a lockdown. Hey, there's a lockdown. What do you mean you don't lose freedom?
You get fined from going outside. That is a restriction of freedom.
It's like, yeah. Listen, excuse me. What kind of speeches? What kind of moron do you have to be to make a statement like that? You don't lose freedom. Get your fucking head checked, man. Next one.
Reblin said, yes, I am a huge introvert too, so I'm not really suffering from it. I'm actually kind of enjoying not having to socialize every day. I feel like a lot of people need to learn how to be by themselves from time to time. You're not going to die from sitting at home for a while. You could potentially die from an unknown virus though.
Listen, mate, there's been a while, then there's been a year, right? Let's get real here, right? It is not... You are not normal, and I'm like you. I'm like him. I'm exactly the same. But we are an anomaly. A normal human being does not like to be inside all day, never talking to other people, never having any human bonds or whatever, and being on their own all day. That's not normal. The average person should not have to be subjected to the lifestyle that we like. It's like saying to you, you've got to go out and play football all day, you've got to go out and play rugby all day, whatever. You wouldn't like it. So why subject yourself to other... You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but I mean, I think he would have a point if the lockdown was 1 week, but it's been going on for over half a year now.
Yeah, look, at the start, you can understand it, right? It's like, oh, come on, a week, heck, you know what? Maybe even a month, whatever. But how long's it been now? How long has it been? Like 7 months, 8 months? Fuck off. That's more than a lot. That's ridiculous, man. Jesus Christ. You got some people who haven't seen their family in months. Get real.
K-Sync213 said freedom is but a set of predetermined choices one has to make throughout their life.
Sorry, did I ask for a Gandhi quote or did I ask for an opinion? This is typical Reddit neckbeard. Oh, freedom is... Shut the fuck up.
Anyone say that the freedom isn't like... I mean, when you can get fined for going outside and meeting up with your friend, How is
You
that?
you actually seriously analysing that bullshit response?
No, I just
Don't waste my
understand
time.
how people
Don't waste
respond.
my time with Gandhi quotes. Next one.
There is no next.
All right. Well, thank God for that. Right. Right. So actually, I will say, the last few made me feel ill, but the first few actually for Reddit standards, that was not bad. A lot of people are even on a left wing hellhole. You know, I don't want to even say left wing hellhole because left wingers they're not that retarded. Just like a sort of mainstream media takeover website that's been taken over. Those responses actually weren't that bad. I just think to myself, people need to stop following these self-serving politicians, listening to the completely bought out and sold mainstream media. It doesn't make any sense. It's like like in the UK, these people are giving themselves a fucking pay rise, while if you lose your job, they don't give a shit, right? They might give you a free meal at a restaurant. Enjoy, peasant. But they don't give a shit. Stop listening to them. Demand your freedom. This has gone on for too long. That's what I think. I don't give a shit if social media tries to censor it or it's a frowned upon opinion. Get bent. The consequences of Corona are going to be a lot more. Let me tell you this, right? I got a prediction. In 10 years from now, when Corona's an old news and people look back on Corona, right, they will say Corona itself was not that big of a deal, but the hysteria caused by the media and social media and the establishment and politicians at large had such an unbelievable impact on humanity at large. In 10 years, we still will not recover from those impacts. The suicides, people who are depressed, people who have lost their jobs, we will still not have recovered from that. And it's all hysteria. If you don't believe me, look into the survival rates yourself. All the deaths are tragedies. I'm not saying just because 99.99% of people survive, we shouldn't give a shit about the 0.01% who don't. Of course not. But this is ridiculous. You know, this is the equivalent of, I don't know, you get a stain on your shirt, so you burn the shirt and never wear it again. I'm a germaphobe, and even I'm not like that. You know, that's what it's like. And not only do you burn the shirt, you dig a mile long hole and shove the burned remains in there. That's what it's like. It's like you're overreacting a little bit. That's what we've done. It's ridiculous. Anything else?
Yeah, I was thinking about Nancy Pelosi and her haircut. Our little puppy went 3 fucking months without a haircut and he was fine.
He's just heard you.
Yeah.
Oh, we've just woke him up again, I think.
Oh,
we should probably stop yelling actually. Right, that was good. That was good.